We finally got to see some of Koga's training, and as we expected last chapter, Kanoh's here to train with Koga. However, not just Kanoh, the likes of Lolong has also returned to assist in training Koga. Very cool stuff. The two kings about to give Koga that huge buff, and they was also right about what they were training Koga mainly in, which is pretty cool. I'll discuss more in detail about that shortly. But in the later half of the chapter, we also get some ZG action and seeing what he's currently doing, giving me a little bit of the sense that Koga may end up fighting ZG in the future. If you don't remember, in chapter 49 or 50, Koga had a quick exchange with ZG before Oma's return. So regarding the recent reveals about ZG, it could be very possible that once he gets his huge buff and Koga gets his huge buff, we could see them fighting some point in the future. The rise of ZG and Koga could be where the story is going. Before we continue, be an absolute mad lad by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also leave a like, it's greatly appreciated. Now let's get into Kengan Omega chapter 153 entitled Koga's Training. I have no idea why so many people in the fandom on the comments of last week's video thought Koga was going to drop Kanoh this chapter. A lot of yous really do be tripping, but this chapter we see that Kanoh is really just training him, not going all out. We see that he's only using his martial arts stance here, and as he strikes we see Koga activating his fist eye. It seems as though he can activate it at will, but I could be wrong. It may just be a thing that activates whenever, but it seems like here with the emphasis on fist eye activated, is Koga actually activating it himself. However, it's also possible that it's always activated regardless. Koga is able to block a few strikes from Kanoh, but when Kanoh used one of his hands to block Koga's vision, he was able to get a punch in, but stop before it actually lands. And we see this a few times. Again with a kick and then a few more strikes, so Kanoh is definitely still on a whole nother league compared to the likes of Koga, which of course is to be expected. We learnt a few chapters ago that Koga, in regards to the other characters or the broader Kengan verse, is around a mid or low B lister when it comes to Purgatory, as he had one loss and one win I believe regarding the B ranks. But yes, he's able to low diff the likes of Kokoro after that. But he's not really impressive whatsoever in himself. He was zero diffed by the likes of Hayami before Hayami got stronger in his draw to fight. He also considered the likes of Gozo equal to him or potentially better. Of course, this is all prior to Kokoro's most likely buff considering the time skip and how he looked. But in the broader perspective, Koga isn't really that relevant still. For comparisons, the likes of Rito, potentially the weakest on Team Kengan in the Purgatory tournament, was considered by the Purgatory gladiators like Ludong as someone who's worthy of low A or high B. So even Rito back in that tournament can be considered above the likes of Ko and Koga, unless you consider that Purgatory and Kengan fighters as a whole are stronger than what they were 2 or 3 years ago, meaning the B list is a lot stronger than what they were during that tournament or from Liu Zhong's perspective. Just something to think about. Now coming back to the chapter, we have Lolong appearing telling them to stop right there, pointing out that Koga has lost focus and that he's relying too much on his fist eye, with of course Kanoh also praising the fist eye, talking about its kinetic vision being nothing short of a menace, which is pretty funny, and that him and Lolong can't even hope to come close to it. So again, the fist eye being stated as something very powerful, one of the strongest abilities in the whole series. But Kanoh also highlights that it's something that's not all powerful, as it quickens his exhaustion and extended use leads to loss of focus. And I'm guessing when Kanoh used his hands to cover his vision, he also lost focus in that instant there. But let's talk about Lolong a little bit. Got that fresh cut and looking a lot more chill. Probably went through a similar change to the likes of Kanoh Agito. Remember, these two were undefeated for many years, considered the king of Purgatory and the king of the Kengan Association. Kanoh Agito thanked Kuroki Gensai for defeating him, which allowed Kanoh to leave Metsudo, go and do his own thing for a few years, and in return he was able to remove the beast side of him. Lolong, after getting defeated by Oma, probably went through a similar thing. I don't know about the whole like beast side or anything. Was able to chill out more and not be so focused on just existing as this all-powerful person who never loses. Of course, resulting in him to chill out a little bit. But regarding what Koga's actually working on in his training with these two is his inception. Now let me explain all this for those of you who don't remember. Pre-initiative is pretty much, as stated by Gowling here, the pinnacle of foresight. This more so involves, or not more so, does involve striking your opponent before they move via reading their opponent's inception of intent, which is pretty much the offensive peak of foresight in the Kengan verse. What Koga is learning to do here is practice the inception of intent when it comes to dodging. So if you look at the start of the Lolong and Oma fight, Oma's doing that. He's dodging attacks before they start, with Kanoh calling it inception of intent. As Kanoh is a master of pre-initiative, he would have all the other forms of it. Similar to how Lolong is also a master of pre-initiative, he'll have the other forms, like just inception. So they're teaching Koga inception to most likely eventually allow him to unlock pre-initiative, the pinnacle of all of that. With Koga also using post-initiative or counter-initiative in his Conqueror fight, I forgot which one it was, one of these two, which in my opinion is the inferior versions of pre-initiative, but still very powerful in their own right. So what I'm thinking is Koga's end goal here is to unlock pre-initiative, and then in combination with his fifth die, he may be unstoppable, and that's where Koga potentially reaches one of the strongest in the verse whenever that happens. I don't think it will happen in the specific training here, but we do see him kinda using a little bit of inception here in the final exchange between Lolong. With Kanoh Lolong also stating later in the chapter that defensive abilities are directly tied to strength, so if he's able to dodge and counter everything, Koga will be an absolute monster. And they're talking about using the environment, everything like that. Koga being thankful that the two champions of Kengan Purgatory are here to train him. And then we get one of the best bro moments with them saying, "No need to thank us, we volunteered for this. Get stronger, Koga, I know you have it in you." And yeah, of course, Koga's response is that he'll get stronger than them as a way to pay them back, as we were expected. But from there we cut to the likes of ZG. Last chapter he was told by the likes of Yarn and the Connector to go stir up some trouble in the Kengan Association, to kill really anyone, a fighter, someone who's part of the association, just do something. And we see that he's targeting the likes of Yamashita, the, of course, resident god of the verse. The second I saw this, I knew it wasn't going to go too well. I was thinking it would be a similar scene to what Nikaido Ren went through in Ashura, where Kaji was able to dodge his, like, kill intent, like, needle thread or whatever it was. But no, ZG is just straight up walking behind him, about to attack him. But then we see the likes of our boy Himuro coming in, like, punching him away, and then, of course, Kazi's not even noticing what's going on. Everyone else around saying a fight, but Kazi's like, oh shit, what's going on? And then we cut to them about to fight, or Himuro about to beat on ZG. So, it's very possible that ZG straight up kills Himuro in this fight. He, like, awakens something into him, as we learned last chapter. We had a lot of implications that pretty much connect to ZG having some insane potential, which potentially needs to be unlocked at, like, dire situations. In fighting Himuro here, if we do actually see it, that could be the case where he goes crazy and actually beats up Himuro. But for all we know, Himuro could be beating up ZG, and someone else on Worm comes in to actually save him. That is also very possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happens. For example, the two direct subordinates of Yarn that he sent to watch ZG could come in and potentially save ZG if he's going to be killed by Himuro here. And maybe some other people come to save Himuro after that, then we have like a group fight. That's all possible, but again, it could be also a case that we don't even see the fight and we cut to Himuro's like dead body on the ground, which would be very unfortunate for the likes of Himuro, someone who's been done fairly dirty throughout the series. In Ashura, he got his spot taken by Canada. Feels bad. He's still officially undefeated in Kengan matches from what we know, but we haven't really seen really any of them, just like a few panels of like one or two. He has been a lot more badass in Omega, with him beating up Ryuki and part of like teaching Koga a little bit of stuff. So hopefully we get to see what he's capable of finally, and yeah, that's pretty much everything for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the other stuff in the description if you want to be an absolute mad lad times 10. And of course, shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.